Guys, let's talk about the month of October 2023. What's happening for us on an energetic level? What astrology is happening this month? What is it likely to be doing for us on the ground? That's what we're going to be discussing in this video. We're going to be going through the month of October week by week, looking at the significant energy that is happening each week, sort of doing a synopsis of the energy that we have coming through that week. And then at the end, we will do sort of a summary of the entire month and what things might be looking like for us, where we're starting and where we're going, and some of the best ways that we can navigate this energy to get the best results as this particular month unfolds. And to start this report, I will say that this month of October honestly is kind of like a doozy. It's looking like things could honestly be like on the bit of the sort of difficult end of things. We have a lot of references going on about coming to the end of something, being ready to move on from something, endings happening perhaps in maybe some unexpected or explosive ways. There's a very strong, powerful, dominant Mars influence going on this month. There's a very karmic energy that is going on this month as well. And like I said, things could honestly get a bit explosive, and we need to keep in mind, okay, there's a macrocosm world stage way that this energy will be playing out, and then there's the ways that it will be playing out and affecting us in our individual day-to-day lives. Now, I am expecting, based on what's coming through this month, some type of big event to be happening on a world stage that has perhaps some kind of like dire consequences. And this is likely, or it's looking like it's going to be in the realms of finances, financial markets, financial institutions, things to do with resources, assets, but definitely like the financial and economic side of things, partnerships, deals, agreements, that type of stuff, okay? Kind of the highlight, where the light is shining the brightest in terms of whatever critical moment, crisis point, major event might also be unfolding. Now, that being said, okay, we should not proceed through this month coming from a state of fear. Like, I don't want, just because I'm starting this report saying, we may be in a bit of some dire times, like they're just as likely to be some, like I've said, more difficult situations playing out, on perhaps like a greater world stage that are then affecting our individual lives. But, this is also a very transformative period of time right now, and it's really likely to be affecting relationship dynamics, helping us actually to gain a deeper sense of self-awareness, gain some self-confidence, and feel like we are ready to move forward in some type of new direction. That's ultimately how this energy is functioning from its higher octaves. However, like I said, we shouldn't approach this month and the things that are happening from a place of fear. We're gonna gain some very powerful insight into the deeper nature of our own selves, of our own reservoirs and wells of power and strength and courage and the ability to persevere through things, and to actually come out the other side of some things that may be a bit more difficult with a much more greatly expanded sense of self-confidence, okay, and like belief and trust in our ability to persevere through things, to make it through things. We're definitely gaining a level of expanded strength, trust, and confidence in ourselves as we go through this month. So we're coming out actually of whatever transpires better than we went in. So we need to keep that in mind. And as we are moving into the energy of this month and the things that are likely to be transpiring, we need to do our best to, in the face of, again, perhaps some more difficult things that are playing out, to realize that when all is said and done, and when the stuff that is happening and unfolding, sort of the dust settles and everything, we will actually be viewing ourselves from a place of greater strength and greater ability, like I said, to like really make a change, persevere, and sort of head in a new direction with true self-confidence and a much greater level of self-awareness and self-understanding than maybe we thought ourselves capable of. And that probably sounds like kind of dramatic, but I'm telling you guys, like, this is kind of a dramatic month in terms of the way that things are playing out. Like I said, we will be better for it, but there could be a lot of fears, doubts, uncertainty, worry that is sort of plaguing us as we move through this period of time. And again, like, it is just a point in time of some epic change, very extreme transformations, especially in the realms of relationships. The groups and the group mindsets essentially also that we have associated with and that we have identified ourselves as, maybe up until this point in time in our lives, but just some very transformative stuff coming through, some real true endings being spoken of. But again, it's the function behind it is to help us move forward in a new direction and really redefine ourselves in alignment with a greater sense of self-mastery, a restored sense of self-confidence, a deeper level of self-awareness, and a newfound connection to, like, our own true purpose and stuff like that. A sense of destiny being activated is also definitely where this energy this month is leading us. So I guess what I'm saying is arms and legs and hands and everything inside the vehicle. It could be a bit of a bumpy ride, but we're going to a place where we are going to be taking back a level of personal power that is going to benefit us moving forward. So you guys, all of that being said, let's now talk about the first week of October. And what it's looking like as we move into the energy of this month. Actually, before we get into the first week, I want to give you guys a couple of key dates that you may want to just jot down on your calendar. And I think that these are all kind of like critical energetic moments this month, and I'm expecting, on or around these dates, we could see some real action happening, some big things unfolding, playing out. First of all, on October 7th, I'm calling this a red zone day, and we'll talk about why, but October 7th, okay? Also, October 10th, this is a very powerful day. I'm expecting some type of big event to happen on or around October 10th. Again, this is most likely to be related to some type of like financial something, finances, economies, financial systems, something like that, okay? And then on the 14th, October 14th, we actually have a really big solar eclipse that's playing out, and this is actually going to be connected to things that began happening in 2017, and it's also connected to another eclipse that is going to be happening in April of 2024. So we've got a very powerful solar eclipse playing out on the 14th that is also our new moon in the sign of Libra. Big business, okay? So we've got the 7th, the 10th, the 14th, then also the 20th. This is another really big day. We have a Mercury Sun cazimi that's happening in exact square to Pluto while the moon is in a trine to Jupiter. This is gonna be another day that, what we're coming clear on really sort of like helps us to redefine some aspect of the nature of our perception of reality in some way. This could really bring some things down. I will tell you guys, there's a very destructive energy that is coming through this month of October. Now, sometimes things need to be, it's Pluto energy, very strong. And we've got Pluto stationing direct, I will say that as well. But there is definitely like a demolition energy because something needs to be, it's like the Phoenix rising energy, all right? Like, burn it all down so that something can be built back in a much better and more evolved and moving into the age of Aquarius right now, way that is in alignment with authentic growth and potential that universe needs, how it needs it to be to move us forward into this new energy that's coming in as well. We are really, really, really getting primed this month to take some big steps here coming up in 2024 into a tangible experience of this new energy, this new Aquarius energy that we are being primed to move towards, and that is coming in right now, as well as we always talk about on this channel. And then finally, October 28th, that's another big day. We have our full moon in the sign of Taurus. There's a lot going on with that full moon. Mars will be in an exact opposition to Jupiter, which we will talk about, and also a conjunction to Mercury. So this is some energy as we close out the month that is doing what I was talking about a few minutes ago, like really helping us to gain a much deeper and simultaneously more expanded level of awareness into our own selves, into our true motives, and through this process, gain a greater understanding of our own self-worth and our own self-value and our potential to move forward in a new direction with like a renewed and a restored sense of faith, confidence, and belief in ourselves. So that is where we're going. And this full moon actually that we have closing out the month that is happening on the 28th is going to be helping to like bring the gusto back, and we're actually going to need to make sure we don't get a bit carried away. And again, we will talk about that as we get through this report, but that's essentially what we're looking at in terms of the big key moments this month. And I am expecting, again, some type of event that has some type of significant impact to be playing out, okay? So the 7th, the 10th, the 14th, the 20th, and the 28th, those are all big days. Now, let's get into our week-by-week breakdown. Let's talk about this first week and what things are looking like to start off our month of October. Now, moving through this first week, this is really like a doozy type of energy. This is really probably more of a difficult week, okay? We want to do everything we can in this energy to let things go. The more that we can let go, the more that we can release, the more that we can, the past is likely to be coming up in some type of active way in our experience, whether it be people from the past or, us sort of like doing like a review kind of different things that we've been through, and especially different relationship dynamics and stuff that have been a part of our lives and have, maybe played a major role in where we're at and what's going on for us right now. There's likely to be something to do with the past, or maybe conflicts or fights or, past wounding, unhealed wounds from the past somehow coming up. And it's likely also to be in regards to other people. Now, this is Mars. Mars operates in a lot of ways, okay? We are still, to start this first 2 weeks of the month of October, in the full moon energy, actually, that happened, the full moon in Aries, okay? And that energy I was talking about for the full moon, invoking the spiritual warrior, was going to be beneficial for us in the way that energy is unfolding, and for us to use that sort of wear that suit, or like wear that armor sort of as we move through that energy, and like coming from that perspective, that was going to benefit us moving through the full moon energy. We had the full moon on the 29th of September. So, starting off this month of October, we're still very much coming through this full moon energy, and I feel like that advice still rings very much true. The more that we can be in our spiritual warrior energy, the more that we can be acting from a place of wisdom gained through experience, surrendering to the situations that are ending right now with the ability to understand that it's for the purpose of moving us forward in a way that's going to help us grow and expand somehow. This is going to be the best mindset and perspective and sort of way for us to interact with the energy as it's coming in. But, Mars, this can also be a more difficult energy, right? In ancient traditional astrology, Mars is known as one of the, malefic planets. We also have the South Node, which is traditionally another energetic point that is associated with, loss, and doesn't always have the most positive associations, okay? And so Mars and the South Node coming together, like this, can be perceived and is likely to play out on some octaves in some way as a more just like not pleasant experience, a more like nasty combination of energy, okay? Especially in the sign of Libra. Likely to bring up a lot of conflicts in relationships, likely to bring up a lot of like hurt feelings and sort of like ego wounds and stuff like that. Likely to bring up a lot of like past conflicts that have happened in relationships, and issues from the past sort of sparking back up and coming back around. And this is honestly kind of the vibe the whole week, because we're talking about the South Node. This is karma. This is the past. This is actually what we need to move on and detach from. And this can also represent losses, weaknesses, okay, in the sign of Libra, having to do with other people, having to do with relationships, having to do with like financial agreements and arrangements and stuff like that. So with the South Node in the sign of Libra, we already know this is a period of time where we are letting go of previous ways of relating to other people, ways of handling money and finances and like value type of stuff generally, ways of handling ourselves in relationships, and also bringing up the nature of our relationship to ourselves and how that has impacted our relationship dynamics. So this can be more of a difficult type of experience, especially in the context of relationships, when we have the South Node transiting the sign of Libra. This can definitely have to do with loss in relationships or to do with other people somehow, but it's because we have the North Node in the sign of Aries, we have the South Node in the sign of Libra, and when the North Node is in the sign of Aries, this is because we need to do something on our own. We need to do something independent. We need to redefine ourselves somehow out of a group context that has defined our past. So this is an end of an era in regards to various relationship components and dynamics of our lives that perhaps have been in place for long periods of time and that we have really defined ourselves by. Now, what is making this extra sort of just maybe an issue right now is the fact that this first week of October we have Mars coming into a conjunction with the South Node, and this Mars South Node energy, this is going to be, on one hand, this could be conflicts that end things somehow. This could be some type of like, fights or just issues happening in relationships that bring the end to that relationship, the end of era in relationships. This can also be bringing up, of course, relationship issues from the past that need to be released and moved on from at this point in time. And of course, this can also have to do with, karmic things that are playing out. Mars is how we're acting. It's how we're behaving. It's how we're using our energy. With the South Node there, this can have a lot to do with karmic actions being taken by people this week that result in various forms of endings somehow. The social and relationship and financial domains of our lives are likely to be most impacted. And there's also Neptune energy that is wrapped up in all of this as well. That could be confusing things, okay, and making them feel to some extent worse than they are. When Neptune and Pisces, this also has to do with loss, with what we're having to release, with what we're surrendering to. This can also bring up issues with like victimhood or like martyr complexes and stuff like that. And we also have another thing going on the first week. The Black Moon is leaving the sign of Libra and entering the sign of Virgo. Black Moon in the sign of Virgo, this classically brings up fears of failure, okay? And this has to do with our ability to produce things, to make things happen, to, create an abundant harvest, right? For our efforts and our work to pay off in some type of way. So there's just likely to be a lot of issues, okay, conflicts that could be coming up, especially in regards to other people, in regards to relationships, in regards to finances and stuff like that. We could really be feeling down on ourselves about what we're losing, or about the fights that we're getting in, or the issues that we're having with other people at this point in time. This first week, we really may be not perceiving ourselves or others clearly at all. And this energy, it begins on the 3rd. It really begins like heavily on the 3rd. It kind of peaks on the 7th with a very powerful and destructive grand cardinal cross. If you guys remember, I said the 7th of October is our first really big day in the month of October. When I was going through the energy for this month, I saw this and I wrote down red zone day. This is because the moon is going to be in the sign of Cancer, forming an opposition to Pluto in Capricorn, squaring the nodes, and Mars will also be in a conjunction with the South Node. As I said, that is our vibe of the week. Mars conjuncting the South Node. Mars also has to do with the self, right? And with the ego. This could also be like experiencing some type of like loss of ego or loss of sense of self somehow that is really creating some issues or making us feel like we don't fit in anywhere anymore, really questioning where we belong and who we are. But that's also kind of like primed for what's happening right now as well, as we're redefining ourselves. We may really feel like we are losing ourselves or losing a sense of ourselves or losing a sense of our identity as this energy plays out. And as we move into this energy of the 7th, where we have the grand cardinal cross going on, moon, Pluto, it's our emotions, it's Pluto, power and intensity and transformation and change, the lord of the underworld. And then we've got the square, the harsh 90-degree aspect to the nodes with Mars conjunct the South nodes in cardinal signs. This is a very action-oriented grand cross, and the moon will also be forming a trine to Neptune that day. We're going to want to exercise caution, walk away when necessary, okay? Act with wisdom from experience. I do not think the 7th, like if you can take the day off on the 7th, if you can just sort of remove yourself from the game board on the 7th and be as kind of like self-contained as possible, maybe just like make it a self-care day or try to do, so I'm personally going to be putting up autumn decorations, I think, on the 7th of October. I think that's a good day that's a good way to use this energy. And I am thinking I'm probably not even going to leave my house. Like that's what things are like, that's just the vibe that's jumping off the paper at me when I look at the chart for the 7th. So, proceed at your own risk, but it's looking like this is gonna be a real difficult day. And it's a grand cardinal cross. It's likely going to be very difficult to get anything done. We're going to feel like everything, like life in the world, is kind of working against us, and it could provoke like a lot of anger, okay? And there could be with Mars in the South Node there, it's like, why does this always happen to me? Why am I always in this situation? What do I have to do so that this stops happening? You know what I mean? Like that type, like tension to the maximum. And like I said, finding something that you can do to maybe just your own little creative project, or, working on something within your own little world that just makes you happy on some level, probably going to be a good way to use the day, because there's just no real beautiful way of slicing the energy for the 7th. There's also the moon trining Neptune, so I'm probably gonna feel like escaping reality to some extent. So if you can do that in a way that is, here's the thing, not self-destructive in any way, that'll be a good use of the energy on the 7th. So that's really what our first week is looking like. Not my favorite week of energy. We're probably going to be struggling with some things, but again, we need to keep in mind the things that we are going through as this month unfolds are leading us, by the time that we get to this full moon at the end of the month, to actually feel much more empowered in and of ourselves in some way. So we are gaining, something of value in terms of the way that we are going to be able to conduct ourselves and act and behave, and the way that we're going to be using our energy coming out of this month, okay? Let's talk about the second week of the month of October. Now, I wish that I could say that once we make it through the first week that the tension will be released and that we'll be riding high and everything will be looking lovely, but that's just not the way that these aspects are coming together. I'm seeing, and again, I do feel like the energy as it's hitting this second week is likely to be manifesting more on like a world stage macrocosm type level, but little aspects of this popping up in our individual lives likely to be playing out as well. There's how I always talk about repeating patterns. If you guys watch my videos, I talk about whenever I'm looking at astrology, that's what helps me to make my, to make my interpretations of the energy, is the way that patterns within the transits that are playing out repeat. And this second week of the month of October, you guys, like, we have just got so many different energetic indications playing out that are suggesting some type of financial upheaval or like some type of financial system failure. And I could be wrong, you know what I mean? Like, maybe this will play out in a different way, but let's talk about sort of just like the summary of these aspects. It's hard for me to think that something along these lines wouldn't play out, and this is the week, which to me is actually encapsulating the most significant day of this entire month. To me, October 10th, Tuesday, October 10th, is the biggest day of the month. That will be the day that Pluto stations direct in the sky at 28 degrees of the sign of Capricorn, at the natal Pluto degree of the United States, 1776, July 4th, where Pluto was. That's where Pluto will be stationing direct in the sky. And this to me is telling us, like, okay, like, here we go, like, the last remaining stranglehold of the matrices of power and control that have been sustaining and maintaining and doing everything possible to, keep their grip on the current, like, evolution of things. This is when things are about to start crumbling. Okay, this is when we are really going to see some things come down that let us know that major changes are really taking place and everything is about to change and start moving in this whole new direction, which is, brought to us by these incoming frequencies represented by the age of Aquarius. The 10th is a huge day. Pluto stationing direct at that degree. We also have on that day, which to me, again, it's Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. This to me is talking about the long-standing, long-established orders of power and control that have been dominating, essentially, like, the institutions and the organizations and the foundations and the structures of our 3D reality, about to go through a major Phoenix moment. Okay, and this Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn rules financial institutions. This is an earth sign. So we've got that indication, which is very, very powerful. Now, aside from that, on the 10th, this is also the day that the sun in the sign of Libra will oppose Chiron in the sign of Aries. Exactly. Chiron is also a very financially oriented body. It rules true wealth, and it rules, the Sabian symbol for Chiron, the Chiron point where Chiron was initially discovered, is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and it has to do with true worth and true value. And as a result of that, again, it has a tendency to be very financially influential. Okay, with the sun in exact opposition to Chiron and Pluto stationed retrograde in the sky, this is giving me more vibes about something big happening to do with finances, value, worth, resources, institutionally somehow. But there's more. So that's 2 indications, and now there's more. Okay, on the 10th, this will be our first activation of the black moon in the sign of Virgo. A couple minutes ago, what did I say? I said that the sign of Virgo hosting the black moon represents some real fears, worries, insecurities, doubts about failure, essentially, about an ability to produce something of value in the end. This is very, very financially oriented black moon energy, and the moon will be coming into exact alignment with the black moon, and Venus will also be in exact alignment with the black moon on the 10th. So we've got the black moon, we've got Venus also ruling finances and money and value and worth, okay, in the sign of Virgo, about producing a harvest. All right, with the moon there, act in exact conjunction, activating the black moon energy. And you guys know what else? This is an exact opposition to Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Saturn is the establishment. Saturn is the authority. Saturn is ruling the position of Pluto stationed in the sky. Saturn restricts. Saturn controls. Saturn limits. Opposite Venus. This is finances with the black moon. This is bringing up, and with the moon there, this is triggering like massive fears of financial failures. Okay. So, I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a crazy lineup. For one day to have all those simultaneous references going on, Pluto station Capricorn at the USA natal Pluto degree. Sun exactly opposite Chiron, you know, Libra and Aries. Also, Libra ruled by Venus in the opposition to Saturn. This is a financial sign, okay? Chiron is wounding in the exact opposition. And then the black moon, Venus, moon alignment in the sign of Virgo. First day of black moon Virgo energy, beginning a new 9-month transit in opposition to Saturn. This is making me think that over the course of the next 9 months, there could be some real financial uncertainty, fears, doubts, worries, again, of failure that kind of characterize the entire transit of the black moon through the sign of Virgo, because this is how the black moon Virgo energy is coming in. So this is a big... this is the energy that I feel like could be provoking some perhaps type of big financial event to be going on. Now, again, I could be wrong. Maybe this will be more about, I mean, this could also have to do with like health and well-being and healing and like diet, exercise, like drugs, pharmaceuticals, stuff like that. It could also have to do with, you know, what we're learning or what we're gaining in awareness to in the sign of Virgo. It could have to do with education. But now I'm just, you know, I'm just looking for like alternate excuses of what it could be. But, you know, it's just with that Pluto stationing direct at that degree, you know, there's likely to be some type of, I mean, it's Chiron, right? Some type of wounding financially that is playing out. So that's all I'm going to say about that. And we'll just have to see how it goes. But again, you may want to put that date on your calendar as well, and just keep it in mind in the context, especially, you know, as we start moving towards that period of time. Maybe keep a bit of a greater level of awareness, situational awareness in terms of like what is playing out, like, I don't know, just in terms of, I don't know, like the news and current events and stuff like that. There could just be some very big things happening. Okay. But so that's the 10th, and this energy really defines, I feel like, the majority of this second week. Even as we open the week on the 8th, you know, we have the sun moving into opposition with Chiron. We also have an exact Mars Pluto square. This also is making me think financial upheaval. Mercury or Venus enters the sign of Virgo and begins to conjoin the black moon. And then we are in dark of the moon energy. And then to close out this week, to close out the second week of October, this is our solar eclipse, new moon in the sign of Libra. And it's just more huge energy. This second week is very huge. Like I said, you know, I'm really trying not to be like hyperbolic and over dramatic about things. So I hope that you're not taking it this way, but this is just a very significant energetic week that we have going on, and it is likely to translate into something very big that is happening in the world or in our individual lives. Now, this full new moon that's happening in the sign of Libra, bringing us into Libra season. I've been saying, you know, this is going to be a Libra season where the relationships that we are moving away from are probably more relevant than, you know, the relationships that we're sort of immersed in, which is different for a Libra season. But we're in the age of Uranus right now, you guys, moving into the age of Aquarius. So everything is likely to be weird, you know, basically from now through the next undefined future. Especially with Pluto also moving into Aquarius. So we're going to get used to the unusual. We're going to get used to, you know, the like eccentric. We're going to get used to the revolutionary. We're going to get used to like the rebellious. We're going to get used to like the like woo woo type of stuff as well, and anything literally being possible. I don't even know what to say about this energy, you guys, but anyways, this second week, huge period of time. This may be one of the most significant energetic weeks actually of this entire 2023 year that we've had playing out. Just looks like something big is happening. Perhaps some type of traumatic event, traumatic financial event. Lots of fears and worries could be being provoked. Something is ending, something is failing, something, we're losing something, or something needs to be released or even destroyed. The downfall of something, okay? Authority, control systems breaking down, bodies of governance perhaps breaking down, issues related to collective trauma, collective wounding, and also financial restriction. Venus and the black moon and the moon opposite Saturn, you guys, in the sign of Virgo. Or like the outcome of what we've been working towards or what we thought was going to happen not coming through somehow. I don't know, but it's just looking like a pretty difficult and destructive energy moving through the first 2 weeks of the month of October. Now, moving into the third week of October, you guys, we've still got a lot of this like very serious south node energy playing out. This third week, this will be a sun south node conjunction. We will also have a Mercury south node conjunction. This is again putting an emphasis on either things from the past coming back up to be released, or things that are just ending like once and for all somehow right now. But there's just likely to be an emphasis on the past, on karma, on what we've done that we're sort of paying for or dealing with now, or on what we're done with, period. Huge energy for breakdowns and breakthroughs, also in terms of like habits or ingrained ways of being and acting and behaving. Major change, but we're probably going to find something out. Now, this week, this third week, we have another important day, and that is happening on the 20th, October 20th. That was one of the dates. On the 20th, we actually have an exact, this is the day where we have the Sun Mercury conjunction, our third Sun Mercury conjunction, as Mercury prepares to move in front of the Sun after his retrograde process, okay? Mercury conjunct Sun, Mercury went retrograde, conjunct the Sun again, and now Mercury is coming back, making the third conjunction to the Sun, and that's going to be happening exactly on the 20th. We will have the Cazimi. Now, when Mercury is in exact conjunction to the Sun and we have our Cazimi energy, this is said to be a time when we like have a light bulb moment, when we gain some type of clarity, when we see things clearly, when like things are illuminated for us somehow that maybe we had been missing a piece of information, missing a piece of context, not able to like see the whole picture on something for some reason, like a sudden insight or just like sudden download or just an ability to like figure something out. Something comes clear to us in that moment. Now, what is extra interesting and powerful about this particular Sun Mercury Cazimi, aside from this being the third conjunction of Mercury and the Sun, this Mercury retrograde period of time, is that it is going to be happening in exact square to Pluto, who is now direct. That's really significant, okay? So it's like whatever light bulb moment, whatever we're figuring out, whatever flash of insight, whatever's being illuminated to us, whatever we're gaining an awareness of, whatever gaining a stronger understanding about, it's having a very transformative effect. Could be, I mean, it's a square to Pluto, so there could be some type of conflict that is associated with it, but whatever it is, whatever secret is being exposed or whatever revelation we're having, it is changing us on some very deep levels somehow. Now, this is exacerbated as well by the fact that the moon will be in Capricorn, also making a trine to Jupiter in this energy of this day too. So we are seeing into the depths, we're seeing behind the curtain, but we are also seeing from the top of the mountain top-down view, okay? Secrets being exposed that bring the downfall of some long-standing order of something, some rules that we've been following for ourselves, or some authority that we've been submitting or surrendering to, or some perspective that had held a lot of power over us, that our mind is shifting in such a way that we're being released from maybe some mental constraints that, held us back in the past and kept us attached to certain self-perceptions that are not benefiting us, or groups or social situations that are not benefiting us. Some type of huge awakening moment that makes a big impact, okay, coming through on the 20th. And then moving into the 21st, the day after, this energy is going to be very strong as well, because we will have the sun in square to Pluto. We will also have the moon in a conjunction to Pluto. So this Pluto energy, okay, from actually, I would say, basically from about the 20th through the end of the month, the Pluto energy, the underworld energy, what's happening underneath, where is the true power? What is the real motivation? Where is the real wealth? What is the core of things? This is gonna become kind of like a central focus of our experience. And like I said, it's likely to have a powerfully transformative effect on us somehow. The 21st is going to be another very powerful day along those lines, with the sun squaring Pluto and the moon conjuncting Pluto while squaring the sun, emphasizing whatever it was that happened on the 20th. So, as I said, week 3 definitely puts this strong emphasis on the past, on karma, with Mercury and the sun both coming into conjunction with the South Node, of who we've been and how we've related with ourselves and with the world around us, and how we've defined ourselves previously based on, things that have happened to us in the past, essentially, and what we are discovering now in the impact that it has on changing like the trajectory of our future. There could be some extreme tension, extreme power struggles, things definitely coming to a head in the energy of the 3rd week, breakdowns, transformations, and changing power dynamics as well. So just another very powerful and intense week that we have playing out the 3rd week as well. All about the past, who we've been, but more importantly, what we're discovering and who we're becoming now. Now, moving into the final week of the month of October, this is where things really, we start going really deep. That energy, like I said, starts picking up around the 20th and the 21st, the strong Pluto energy. But moving into the 22nd, Mercury will enter Scorpio, and then on the 23rd, the sun will enter the sign of Scorpio, really bringing up again this like deep, intense, powerful underworld type of energy. We're also going to be in black moon energy, moving through the final week of the month of October. And it's like all heading towards this big full moon that we have playing out on the 28th. Now, like I said, there's a lot of depth and there's a lot of power to this full moon, but it's also going to be restoring kind of a very expanded and almost extreme level of like internalized power and like courage and self-confidence, okay? Belief and trust and faith in ourselves and in our ability to act somehow. Now, I will say, and we're gonna, I'll talk about this more as I get more in depth into this full moon energy. We're going to want to be really careful that we don't sort of just like take things over the top and just get totally out of control on some like maniacal, grandiose, ego-based stuff as this full moon plays out, because it could go that way as well. But like from the higher octaves, and especially like after what we've been through coming through this month, if we are able to sort of grab onto and embody the more spiritual warrior archetype of the Mars energy, this is giving us an opportunity, honestly, for like massive glimpse into ourselves, gaining a tremendous level of self-awareness, and like I said, like a deeper understanding of our own motives, of our own passions, of our own drives, of who we really are, and of who we really can become if we trust ourselves, if we, have the courage to take a risk and to do something different, if we have faith in our ability to be assertive and to be effective and to, be independent and to take action in a way that's going to like benefit, whatever our mission is at this point in time. This is a full moon that is really kind of sparking up this north node energy, re-identification of the self, this personalized mission, this personal hero's journey, this need to be more independent and go in our own direction. This is again like this destiny activating energy, and people are probably going to be taking some big or significant actions somehow. But let's backtrack a little bit, move through this energy of the fourth week. Like I said, we've got these Scorpio vibes coming in big time, and then we've got this black moon energy. And then, what is really the nature of this full moon, okay, is because in correspondence with the sun and Mercury moving into Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars and also Pluto, and then being in the black moon Virgo energy, when the moon is translating the sign of Pisces before the moon moves then to Aries, ruled by Mars right before our full moon, and then moves into Taurus, okay, to set up our full moon. The sun will be in Scorpio and the moon will be in Taurus, and that's what will bring us our full moon. Well, we also have Mars building into exact opposition with Jupiter, which will happen with our full moon. Mars opposite Jupiter, on one hand, this is explosive energy. All week there's going to be a highly charged energy level. And this is masculine energy. There could be some very prominent masculine figures that are emerging this fourth week that are really like coming on the scene, maybe in some big ways with the Mars Jupiter oppositions happening. However, this is also energy. Mars is about the self, okay? Jupiter, this is expansion. This is wisdom. So from the higher octaves of this energy, this is going to give us this expanded opportunity to truly gain a deeper sense of awareness into self, right? Mars in the sign of Scorpio. This is not Mars in Aries, which is, the more like what I always talk about with the North Node translating the sign of Aries, the warrior and the risk taker and the pioneer type of Mars oriented energy. This is Mars and Scorpio energy, okay? This is like the strategy and like the action that is happening behind the scenes and like the core of things, like the root of things, like what is at the base level that is causing things to happen and to come into fruition. And with Jupiter there in the opposition, this is us again like really having an opportunity to figure out the inner workings of things, the inner workings of the machine, the lid, the hood really being lifted off, and us really being able to see the mechanisms, okay, behind the functionality of stuff. So this can pertain, to ourselves personally, or this could have to do with relationship dynamics, or this could have to do with financial situations as well, with this happening in the sign of Scorpio. Connections and deep enmeshments with others. This could also be like really shining some light on, the trauma that universe is trying to get us to heal from now as well, and like subconscious programming and like deep like psychic complexes and stuff, helping us to gain some awareness maybe of our own root issues so that we can take some wise action to make some different choices to move ourselves forward in some type of a way. Now, what is also going on with this full moon is it's not just Mars and Jupiter in exact opposition. Mercury is also in a basically exact conjunction with Mars while we have our full moon playing out, and the full moon of course in Scorpio and Taurus, and we've got Jupiter in the sign of Taurus also, we've got Mars in the sign of Scorpio, and Mercury will be there as well. Jupiter retrograde in the sign of Taurus, you guys, again on a macrocosm level, considering what we are coming out of, some maybe type of financial failure or institutional failure or financial something that happens a second week. This is us like gaining an a view, okay, of how the gears have been working that maybe led to some type of, again, right, what I just said, like trauma or wounding or issue or root like situation that we've been dealing with that may have manifested earlier in the month. So it's going to be really interesting, you guys, to see what comes with the full moon energy, but it is likely very much related to us gaining something of power or of value or of worth in regards to understanding something that played out earlier in the month. Week 4, things are getting very deep. We've got, underworld energy all over the place. We got black moon energy, but then we've got this full moon with Mars in an opposition to Jupiter, getting to the root of our own motivations and our own perhaps like internal dialogue and like I said, like negative programming or like negative self-talk and stuff like that as well. Maybe like zeroing in on some of the roots of our own issues, but this deep and powerful awareness of the true value and worth of self is the ultimate outcome of where this energy is moving us. A desire to expand and express ourselves with a new level of self-awareness and self-understanding. However, like I said, we want to make sure that we are not going overboard. This energy, Jupiter opposite Mars, at the lower octaves, this is going to be blowing up the ego, okay? A lot of people are going to be acting totally foolish, acting total fool, getting very carried away. Again, this could be this very grandiose, like megalomaniac type of energy where people are just, narcissism to extremes, okay? Extreme grandiosity. Or on the other side, an extreme level of awareness into perhaps our own issues or our own deeper motives or our own passions. Some type of extreme messaging, though, is likely to be coming through, and this is probably going to be an explosive, very high level of energy. Enlightened self-interest is definitely where we are, those greater than or less than symbols. The greater than is pointing towards enlightened self-interest and away from pure selfishness, because people are likely to be being very selfish in this energy as well. Like maybe, feeling like everything that they've been through, like they've made it through, they've arrived at this point, and now they're going to focus on themselves. And this energy truly is about focusing on the self, right? We do have an Aries North Node going on right now. This whole year and a half is about focusing on the self, but it's not focusing on the self for purely selfish means. It's taking this enlightened self-interest, okay? Because ultimately, what we do to improve ourselves in our own way, on our own independent mission at this point in time will like double back around and serve the dual purpose of, like helping us to grow and helping us to expand and helping us to, activate a level of destiny. But it's also going to lead to our ability to have better, more solid, more fulfilling relationships that are a more true reflection of who we really are and are not lacking any level of authenticity that may cause us to like hide a layer of dimension of ourselves or feel like unsupported in, continuing our process of growth and evolution at this point in time, as that is the universal plan right now. We're transitioning into the age of Aquarius. This is a process of self-actualization, and a lot of the energy that's playing out right now is rearranging things in our lives so that we essentially have no choice but to, step up and evolve and develop various parts of ourselves that maybe, had been latent or unacknowledged or that we just hadn't focused on, up until this point in time. If there is a purpose that universe has set forth for us that we are unaware of or that we are neglecting or that we are, not developing at this point in time, things are going to be rearranged in your life so that that specific thing is what needs to be made the focus, okay? So as this month of October is playing out, it could be difficult, but it's leading us to have this deep and powerful awareness of the true worth and value of ourselves, of our potential, and of, what we need to do, the mission that is set before us essentially at this point in time. So overall, you guys, this could be, like I feel like I've said a million times, this is probably not going to be the easiest sort of like sailing through time type of month, things could feel largely out of our control. There is a lot of karma playing out, a lot of karmic repercussions sort of going on over this period of time, but we do end the month with some kind of deep and powerful dive into our own strength, our own courage, and our own ability to persevere and to see ourselves through a different lens, more in alignment with, you know, being able to be like the hero of our own story, sort of. We are gaining some profound levels of self-awareness and self-confidence that spur us into action and restore our faith in ourselves and in our ability to protect and to defend what we believe in. That's another thing that could be really significant around the time of the full moon. People very fired up to protect, to defend, and to like aggressively assert themselves to do so when it comes to what they believe in, their beliefs, with the Jupiter-Mars opposition. So regardless of what plays out, you guys, we come out of this month stronger, more confident, and more self-aware and ready to move forward as a result of whatever played out than perhaps we've ever been in our lives. This is another life-changing month, and I do think, like I've said, that there are probably going to be some significant events that unfold that show us that, you know what, all those crazy astrologers are right, all those crazy woo-woo people are right. Like, things really are changing. The old world really is falling away, and we really are emerging into some new and different times that we really can't even conceptualize fully right now. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys. The 7th, the 10th, the 14th, the 20th, and the 28th. These are our big dates of the month. And now I'm going to grab us a synchronicity card. Let's see what God, Spirit, Universe wants us to know and thinks we should keep in mind as we move through this period of time. What's it going to benefit us to sort of make our mantra? And whew, let's see. You can only change yourself. And isn't that the truth? And honestly, that is what this entire period of time is about, is our ability and our capacity to change ourselves in a way that is moving us towards fulfilling the plan that universe has set forth at this point in time as we are in this transitional process. You can only change yourself. Let your light so shine before man that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Here it is. Be an example for others. You cannot change others' behavior any other way except to show by good example what sort of things a good life can bring one. Forgive them for their failures, forgive them for their words, love them, and by your example, show them the way. This is the only way except to pray for them, to know, and to follow your example. I am telling you, you guys, this is the era of relationship changes. We have come to the end of a lot of the relationship patterns and dynamics in our lives. We're going to realize throughout the course of this month that we can't, nor is it our job to change anybody else. The best thing that we can do, again, is be the spiritual warrior archetype, which is living wisdom through experience, being the example for others, okay? That is, you know, we conduct ourselves in a way that is righteous and that we feel, I mean, with the Mars Jupiter opposition again, you know, wise action, righteous action, acting with honor, acting with integrity, despite whatever may be playing out around us, or how crazy people may be, or, you know, the fears and the worries and the, you know, the woe is me and the just perhaps like somewhat, you know, chaos that could be going on, especially in people's minds and perceptions of reality. The more grounded we can stay through this period of time, and the more that we can just sort of like ground ourselves into our own truth and be our own living example of who we want to become based on what we've learned from what we've been through, that's going to be our best way to make it through this month, you guys. And we're going to be feeling very positive about ourselves if that is the way that we conduct ourselves through the course of this month by the time we get to the full month and this month is ending. So I'm going to stop talking now. That's what I'm going to say. You can only change yourself. This is perfect guidance for the energy that's coming together. And that's what it's looking like for us, you guys. So that's what I have to say for the energy for the month of October. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of this type of astrology content. Share it with your friends if you think they would be interested in this type of thing as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I really appreciate knowing what is playing out with you, how this energy is affecting you. If you guys have experiences that match up with what I'm talking about in these videos, please let me know in my comment section below. And like I said, come back with me next time, you guys. We are going to be jumping into the month of October, and I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. And I will see you then. Have a beautiful day, you guys. Until next time. Bye.